after my injury, I really didn't understand the information that I was being given. All I really understood was that I was never going to walk again for the rest of my life. I didn't understand any of the details about around my spinal cord injury, what was going on with my health, why I had needles out of both my arms, why there was a tube attached to this side of my stomach draining blood from me, why I had the zipper of staples in the middle of my stomach. Fear, I had high anxiety, depression. I seen everything as dark. I had landed in a place where I felt I couldn't get out of. People ask me, even in the work that I do today, what kind of inspiration do you have? What generated this passion for you to want to help patients and become a patient advocate? One of those reasons was a nurse by the name of Melba. One night I was talking with Melba, and she sat next to me, and as we were talking, I just started crying. And Melba sat there and held my hand. I remember the nurse manager coming in at the entrance of the door in our room, and she told Melba that it was time, that her shift was up and she had to go home. And she said, your shift is up. And Melba said, I know. And, but it's not. She just looked at me and looked at the nurse manager, and nurse manager just understood, and she just sort of moved on, and she left us there. And I'll never forget that. Melba stood there after her work shift was over and just really let me vent and let me cry, listen to me. That to me was very powerful. That's something that I'll never ever forget. Therapists were, I want to say they were like my shining star every day. They'd come into my room and wake me up. And it was a kind of love-hate relationship, because I'd have to get up early and I'd have to go through all these hurdles and push my chair around, and then it was love, because at the end of the day, I felt great about myself. I felt great that I was becoming independent. Dr. Luis Montes had this crazy idea of organizing a group of victims of violence and empowering them to go out into the communities and promote violence prevention, educate youth on the dangers associated with negative lifestyles, educate youth on the dangers of being in contact with guns and gun violence. What we did was we went out to communities that were filled with gun violence. You're talking about the city of Compton, the city of Watts in Los Angeles, and South Central Los Angeles, and East Los Angeles. And we went out there and worked with youth that were living this life. The thread is really having compassion, first-class compassion, love for the human spirit, patience. What I see in all three of them is that they're not there to collect a check. They're there because they really love to care for patients. They want to make a difference. With all three of them, you see the characteristics of what our healthcare system should look like. The face of healthcare should look like that. It should be compassionate. It should be patient-centered. You should be very passionate about your work on the day-to-day. It should be self-rewarding for you. You should have that understanding that you're going to be there and you're going to deal with some complex issues, but you're going to get something out of that. You're going to get something out of that. When I go home as a patient advocate, it's rewarding. I reflect on my drive home, and I always think of how amazing my life really is.